Good evening, everyone. My name is Major General Jerry Grizzle. I'm the President and Superintendent at New Mexico Military Institute. Thank you for joining us this evening. For our newly accepted, soon-to-be cadets at New Mexico Military Institute, we're excited to welcome you this evening and soon to see you here on the campus. If we have any returning cadets on the call this evening, we look forward to having you back on the old post. Tonight's an opportunity for our families to ask questions about what to expect when returning to the campus in the fall. We'd like to review some of those things with you this evening. And then after we take care of some questions that have already been sent to us and some that we've thought of that were important for you to have answers for, we'll open it up and we'll field your questions and answer those. I want to introduce the other faces you see on the call this evening. The first is our Commandant of Cadets, Colonel Thomas Tate, our Dean of Academics, Colonel Orlando Griego, and our Athletic Director, Colonel Jose Barone. As I said earlier, we have some questions that people have already sent in to us, and we'll answer those, and we'll trade back and forth. Each of the areas that these three gentlemen are responsible for, they'll answer questions in their areas. And then when we finish, we'll open it up. I want to apologize if I glanced down. I had some notes because I want to make sure we cover all these areas for you. And later, as we get into the questions that you're sending us, I have multiple screens set up for me to look at so that I can see the question and again, send them out to the gentleman on the screen so that they can answer them in their respective areas. So let's get started with some of the questions that we've had sent in to us. The first one I'm going to answer is one when I send out updates of information to the constituents of New Mexico Military Institute that I always answer first off, and that is what is the COVID protocols. Right now, as we know them from the state of New Mexico, those protocols will be up to the individual institutions. What we intend to do is to do a baseline test of everyone when they arrive. All cadets, all staff, faculty, and support staff will be tested. Actually, we've already started that testing process with those of us that are here on the campus now. We use an antigen test. It is a nasal test. We get the results in less than 10 minutes. If someone tests positive, they will be put into isolation for 5 days. That is the current requirement by the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. If you have been vaccinated, fully vaccinated is the term, and fully vaccinated means you receive the initial 2 boosters if you have Pfizer or Moderna, or the single shot of Johnson & Johnson, and then the follow-on booster. Then bring your vaccination card and you will not have to be tested. We will also not test what was referred to as surveillance testing. We did that last year. We randomly selected staff, faculty, and cadets and continually, week after week, tested to try to get in front of any cases of COVID that appeared on our campus. We will not be doing that this year. What we will do is test for symptoms. If we have a cadet come down with symptoms and they report to the infirmary, we will test for symptomatic COVID indications that they have COVID. And we'll talk about a little about our infirmary later and the capabilities of the infirmary. Now, I want to preface all of that by saying that's as we know it today. If the state of New Mexico changes some of those protocol procedures, we will follow what the state tells us to do. I would also encourage you to go to our website, nmmi.edu. On the very front page is an entire COVID protocol document. It's in greater depth than what I just told you, but in essence, that's the synopsis of it. We will test everyone to get a baseline of where we are. Anyone that tests positive will spend 5 days in isolation. We have dedicated clean rooms that those people will stay in. When they finish, they will re-enter the Corps of Cadets. Let me go over a couple of important dates for you right up front again. I send out an update periodically, and you will be included in it. All of the new parents and cadets will start to get that update if you haven't already. In the last update, we sent out a complete list of the matriculation dates that are important. We will start to do a series of matriculation The matriculation, by the way, I had to look it up the first time I heard it, means going to college. So those dates are by specialty groups first. So we bring in our athletes, our band, our ROTC students, our early commissioning students, our preps that we work with the service academies, and then we bring in all of those not affiliated with those special groups. So the key for those of you on this call, if you are a part of one of those specialty groups, you've been already contacted by the person responsible for those, and you know those dates. For all others, August 3rd is the date for all international students and all junior college students. August 4th is the date for all high school students. The evening of August 3rd, we will have a parent orientation in our big auditorium, Pearson Auditorium. And we'll go over some pertinent information for parents primarily, but cadets, new cadets, you'll be in the auditorium as well, and we'll go over some information for you. An international orientation. We will host a special orientation for the international students. It will start on August 1st. It will be conducted August 1st and August 2nd. And then, as I said, all international students, whether you're junior college or high school, will go through matriculation on August 3rd. Also, we ask that you have any and all paperwork that you've been provided or asked to complete, have that finished before you come to matriculation. It'll speed the process up. Most junior college students are 18 or older and can matriculate without their parents. All high school students need their parents because there are parental consent forms that need to be signed in the infirmary for financial purposes, etc. So the more you can complete those forms and have them ready before you come, the speedier, the better the process will go. At this point, I'm going to switch and ask our academic dean, Colonel Griego, to answer the next question. The question is, what will happen if a child cannot report to NMMI at the designated matriculation date? Colonel Griego?
Well, welcome everybody to NMMI. We're excited you'll be coming here. Let me answer that question, Major General Grizzle. We'll be accepting late arrivals up to the first day of classes, August 11th. After August 11th, you must have approval from the Commandant, Colonel Tate, which you'll meet in just a moment, or myself. And the reason why is because we have a lot of assignments that are done. In fact, if you take a look at some of those assignments, as many as 30 questions in mathematics. So if you're too far behind, that could be an issue. However, with that said, as long as you communicate with us effectively, we can work with you as we need to.
Thank you, Colonel Griego. The next question involves the Corps of Cadets. So I'm going to ask the Commandant, Colonel Tate, to answer this question. A lot of students want to know what they should pack and whether or not there are things they can or cannot bring with them. Colonel Tate?
Thank you very much, General Grizzle. I really appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Name's Tom Tate, and I'm pretty much responsible for everything that happens out of the classroom with your son or daughter outside of athletics, which you'll get a chance to talk to our award-winning athletic director here in just a few minutes. I always plug him because he hates it. But anyway, with that question of a lot of students want to know what they should pack and whether or not, and what to bring and basically things that they cannot have. And we have a list that should have been sent out to you and is also available on our website under the cadet tab on the Commandant's homepage under parent package documents. Once again, parent package documents, new cadet packet. It'll, and for you college students, you should be getting that off our homepage as well. And in that list, you'll see required, authorized, unauthorized, and issue items. So required means you need to bring it, you need to have it, and you need to pay attention to exactly or specifically what we're asking for. Authorized means it's authorized, but it's not required. Required means bring it. Unauthorized, please do not bring it. And issue items you'll get when you go through uniform issue. And I think this is a pretty good packing list. The information can also be found on the parents page. Once again, listed specifically as authorized and unauthorized. I ask that you really look closely at those items. And it goes some things that you cannot have. Don't bring furniture, okay? We've seen chairs and things like that come out of cars. Don't bring furniture, bicycles, scooters, stuffed animals, pictures, flags, that type of thing. And I asked that you can bring a game system. You can bring a gaming system. First semester, I really wouldn't recommend it. I think your time's going to be very, very limited. I think if you go and look on the website at what you can bring and just think about common sense for about an 8 to 10 square foot, 8 by 10 room that you're going to be sharing with most of you with a roommate, I think you'll understand the restrictions. And when you come here, you're going to be so busy between academics and activities in the core athletics that you're going to be sufficient with what you have. Thank you, sir.
Hold on, Colonel Tate, we got a couple more in your area, so let me pass the next one to you. Along with what you just answered, they're also asking what creature comforts, what things can they bring of a personal nature to bring with them?
Okay, well, thank you, sir. As far as creature comforts go, once again, I'm sorry, but it's kind of negative, but a lot of people want to bring overstuffed pillows and comforters and things like that. And as we standardize our rooms, that's not the way to go. But I will tell you, once again, your game systems, you can't bring your bicycles, that type of thing. But if you got say you have musical instruments, those types of things that you can bring. Golf clubs, you can bring those even if you're not on the golf team, once you'll eventually have time to use those types of things. And if you got questions, then of course you can email us. But I think pretty much here you're looking at a 10 by 12 room, and we do have a limited amount of space that we can store outside of the barracks rooms. Thank you, sir.
You bet. One of the biggest changes that the returning cadets will see, and they're aware of it, and for the new cadets that we've instituted in the Corps of Cadets, is the separation of the high school and the junior college cadets. Used to, they were completely commingled within the Corps of Cadets. And we've now decided it's the best to have a high school squadron and a junior college squadron. The high school will be commanded completely by high school students, the junior college by junior college students. And I'm going to stop there. I'd like to ask the Commandant again to explain more about how this new structure will be implemented and the command of that structure will work this year.
Thank you. Thank you, General Grizzle. I worked closely with the general and other members of the staff and on this initiative. He called me up to the office one day, and I couldn't have been happier with the change. We basically have two barracks here. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, Saunders and Hagerman, and as the generals brought up before, this year the numbers are going to play out quite well, where we can go ahead and make that split between high school and junior college. And we're really excited. We'll have all of our junior college students over in Saunders Barracks, and we'll have all of our high school students over here in Hagerman. High school will lead high school. College will lead college. We're not separate corps. We're going to be one corps, united under two squadrons or battalions or however you might want to configure high school and college. And we'll work closely with senior ROTC with the configuration here in the college task organization. And something I'm really excited about this year is we're working very closely with our junior ROTC program. All of our high school cadets take junior ROTC. And therefore, what we've done is the rank and the position that they're occupying over in the Mustang Battalion as part of Cadet Command of Department of the Army, and they're occupying there, they're going to come over and occupy the same positions over here. So as we look at this, in our regimental staff, our senior leaders will be made up of college cadets, and rightfully so. But also our high school students will have the opportunity to serve as assistant staff officers, ranging from personnel to operations to logistics, etc. And we're really excited about that. Remember though, once again, we will have a squadron, high school squadron, so you'll have a squadron commander, executive officer, sergeants major, all those key positions they're going to fill in JRTC, they're going to fill over here, and same way with the college. And then we come together as a corps when we parade, when we do march-ons, when we do collective type of training. We're really excited about that. We also think the separation just between 14, 15-year-old young people and 18, 19, 21, 20-year-old young people, is just I think it's more safe and more secure for all involved. And I appreciate General Grizzle taking the lead on that. We also, as I'm talking here very quickly about the structure, this year we have troop leadership advisors and squadron leadership advisors. And troop leadership advisors in the high school squadron, there will be 2 troop leadership advisors per troop. The troop is probably going to consist of about 80 to 90 cadets, males and females. And so we'll have basically double the coverage, for each troop that we've had in the past. We're really excited about that. Troop leadership advisor is your primary adult mentor outside the classroom for your son or daughter. And the squadron leadership advisor supervises the troop leadership advisors and steps in as necessary, or just to support the overall operation. We'll have one each with the college. And with that, General, do you have anything else to add on the core task organization from this year, sir?
No, that's a great job. Thank you, Commandant. I would just add that at the regimental level, which is the oversight of both of those squadrons, I think it's safe to say the majority of those cadets, whether they're high school or junior college, are some of our most tenured cadets as far as their length of time at NMMI. So it may be a high school student that's at the regimental level, but they may have already been at NMMI 3 or 4 years. So their knowledge and their experience with NMMI is what is needed up there to help even though they may be a junior college student, they're still their first semester here. So this blended experience factor is what we're trying to achieve there. So we're all excited about it. Commandant, I'm going to answer one quickly that's come in on the second screen over here.
Okay.
Take the heat off of you on this one. The question is, do the new cadets males have to shave their head? Let me explain. Let me explain this. I'll be glad to take the heat off the Commandant. It's not really a shave. It is a burr, if that's the best way to say it. And that is only during the rat period. And I wanted to answer that because in a minute, I'm going to let the Commandant explain that. But after the rat period is over, we follow essentially the military, the Army standard for haircuts. Pictures are on our webpage. You can see what those look like. Pictures are posted in the barbershop, and you can see what those look like. But during this initial phase, from arrival through the rat phase, males will be required to have essentially an old-fashioned burr haircut, not a shave. We do not shave anybody's head. And with that, I wanted to talk about this term called the rat. You've already heard us use it a couple of times. The military is famous for acronyms. We can make an acronym out of anything. An acronym is just taking the first letters or a few of the letters of a phrase and reducing it to a word in and of itself. Probably the most common is something like ASAP. We all say ASAP, as soon as possible. Well, the term RAT actually stands for Recruits at Training. It's an old term. It's been around in the military for centuries. And that's what it really means. It's not a derogatory term. It's not a negative term. A rat is a new recruit at training. And while they're in that training phase, that's what they're referred to. And so with that, I'd like to ask the Commandant to explain what will they learn? What will happen during this rat phase? And how long will it last up till the point that they can turn or come out of that rat phase? Commandant?
Okay, General, thank you. And as you mentioned earlier, I'm just going to quickly review some of the information that is in our blue book, which is our cadet handbook, or regulations for the Corps of Cadets, and it's found on page 32 through 35 in our blue book. And I think on page 35 there's a nice chart there that kind of shows the progression. But what I'm going to do very quickly is RAT training prepares cadets to become successful and productive members within our Corps of Cadets. It's a transition from traditional high school or college student into the Corps of Cadets. There's three phases. It's basic RAT, intermediate RAT, and advanced RAT. And in phase one, the focus is on comprehensive reinforcement of the individual duties and responsibilities as a member of the Corps of Cadets. Okay, you're going to have to learn the knowledge in the blue book. You're going to have to learn culture, tradition, learn how to drill, understand military ceremony, learn how to wear your uniform, all those types of things. And that particular phase terminates with the cadets being awarded their New Mexico Military Institute crest. And it's a cresting, what we call the cresting ceremony. And a crest, it's a unit crest that identifies them. So once again, they're part of this Corps of Cadets from when they step off when they step onto campus, and we don't want it any other way. But once they go through this initial phase, they get that unit crest, because they have transitioned at least that far in their training. This year it's on Labor Day weekend, and we invite you. We're not sure if the ceremony be inside, outside, and once you finish, it's on that Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and when we finish up, you will be able to take your cadet, if your RATs included, overnight. So if we got people coming from out of town, you'll have the opportunity to spend some time with your cadets. Phase two is what we call intermediate RAT, and that picks up right after phase one. And there, topics such as honor and character education, and we really get deep into the commandant's training program and phase one of self-presentation and self-awareness. And we're really big here on having the cadets learn about themselves and who they are, focus on their values, their beliefs as they transition to the Corps. And they also get additional training or more extensive training in military drill, military ceremonies, and of course their academics. Phase two, which will go the first part of October, during that phase two ceremony, they're all promoted to private. So they go from the cresting on up to promotion of private in phase two. In phase three is advanced RAT. That's where they finish on out. And collectively, we know as we get into the semester, we really look hard at academics and really press for those outcomes that we really want to solidify in the first two phases. And then we look at collective standards for them there with their GPA, their overall deportment grade, and physical fitness. And they all, collectively, we expect that group to achieve a 2.0 GPA collectively, a deportment grade of B or higher collectively. And then each of them must improve collectively on their physical fitness. And we're going to look at all of that at the end of the semester. And then the first week back, we're going to have the turning ceremony where they're now yearlings and fully transitioned into the Corps of Cadets. It's a fun time. It's an exciting time. And if it goes as well as we anticipate, they should form some lifelong friendships. Thank you, General.
You bet, Colonel Tate. Thank you. Let me pick up on a few things he mentioned and have been mentioned, and explain the electronic policy, if you will. He's mentioned about it's okay to bring games and do those things. Let me make sure you understand that we will issue every cadet a laptop, a very powerful new laptop that not only is the hardware you need to be successful here, it is preloaded with all the software. The faculty was involved in designing all of the software. So whether it's a mathematics software, an English software, all that you need to be successful here is on that machine. And we have extras. If something happens, you simply go to the IT department. They'll pop out your hard drive. They'll give you a new laptop. So don't worry about it. Don't go down and buy one. You don't have to do that. But in addition to that, a lot of cadets still bring an old-fashioned desktop. If you prefer that, that's okay too. If you need it in addition to, or if that's what you bring to play your games on, you can bring a desktop and you can bring up to a 25-inch monitor with you. That's all right. The other thing that a lot of cadets bring is a netbook or a tablet, and they carry that with them as well. All those things are okay. The other thing I want to mention is cell phone usage. Cell phones during the first 3 weeks, the rat week, it's not restricted, or it's not unauthorized, but it will be restricted. And the reason, a couple of reasons. One, those early days, your attire will mainly be physical fitness attire. You'll be in shorts, short sleeve shirts, mainly for the heat around here, but you don't have a place to carry your cell phone around. But you will be given periods of time that you can use and check in with your parents on the cell phone, but it will be a restricted amount of time. So you will have access to the cell phone during that time. During the year, particularly the leadership of the Corps, we authorize them to carry the cell phones. We have a Lynx, L-Y-N-X system that has everyone's cell phone in it. And should there be an emergency need, we can notify the Corps of Cadets and we can take an immediate head count if need be. So cell phones are vital. We understand that. And you'll have the ability to have a cell phone here and have usage of the cell phone. So let's change completely here. We haven't had the athletic director speak about his area. The commandant mentioned he was an award-winning individual, and we want to do that. So let me explain that. This past year, Colonel Barone was selected as the NJCAA, the National Junior College Athletic Association Athletic Director of the Year. It was a tremendous award for him and certainly for New Mexico Military Institute. So we will say it even if he won't, because we're very proud of him and what he accomplished. So Colonel Barone, you'll need to unmute yourself and then you're ready to go. So the question is, in a general one, and you can take it off in all the directions you need to. Tell us about sports for the fall, men's, women's, all the things we're going to be doing in sports at NMMI.
Thank you, General Grizzle, and I appreciate the plug. Of course, the award couldn't have come without a great staff and great athletes to help manage here at NMMI. I'm really happy to report that as of this date, sports will be a lot more normal than they have been for the past couple of years. We have almost no restrictions on what's going to happen, no masking, no mandatory testing, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, as General Grizzle mentioned earlier, those things can change if there are school mandates, but right now our conferences and athletic associations are not requiring any additional steps. So it's a breath of fresh air for us to be able to show up and just do our job as athletes and hopefully enjoy some great seasons like we had last year. Very important to us. Tonight, I'm speaking to you from one of the newly created spaces, a VIP room that actually overlooks our main gymnasium in the Cahoon Armory. The Cahoon Armory was we just had the ribbon cutting a week ago, and it is a tremendous facility. I am so excited for all the cadets to see it. Some have had sneak peeks, some of the old cadets, but it is a modern facility that rivals anything that is within any of the competition we have at the junior college level or the high school level. It's modern, it is impressive, and I can't wait for everybody to see it and to see competitions here. Those that are returning will know that we were cramped into portable buildings, into makeshift offices. We shared 2 courts with 5 courts, 6 court sports. So it was a tough time for a while, but now it's time to reap the rewards of this new facility. The school spent $20 million, well spent $20 million to renovate this facility. Again, incredible. It's great, and I can't wait for the cadets to see it. We'll talk a little bit more about our sports. We have an allotment, of course, of junior college sports and high school sports. We have 5 men's junior college sports: football, baseball, basketball, tennis, and golf. And we have 3 women's sports, that is women's cross country, women's volleyball, and women's tennis. Those are all college sports. If you are interested in college sports, I urge you to contact our coaches. It's a little bit late now, but if you have that interest, please contact our coaches. I'll stop right now to give a plug to our website, www.nmmiathletics.com. You can also get there from the main NMMI website, but on that website, you'll find the directory of all of our coaches and their contact information should you choose to try to join one of those sports. The majority of the new cadets, new athletes for college have already, of course, been in contact with our coaches, and we're excited to have you here. As far as the high school, we do have 16 total sports, 9 boys sports and 7 girls sports. We have baseball, basketball, cross country, football, tennis, track, swimming, and diving. And I did say track. And then on the girls' side, we also have the same sports plus volleyball. We do not have a girls' soccer team, but I will tell you that by NMA rule, a female can play on the male team. That we don't have that. So it sometimes happens is we don't have softball yet, and I'll speak more about that in a second. You can play baseball or you can play soccer because we do not have a girls soccer team at this time. And I mentioned softball. Those of you coming in the next year or two, we should have softball up and running. Were it not for the pandemic, we probably would have been going full throttle with it right now, but softball is coming to NMI. Also want to mention that last year we had our very first year with esports at the high school level. And this year we will have esports for both the college and the high school level. So a pretty good allotment of sports. And just a reminder, if you're not in a sport because you don't want to be or for whatever reason, you will still be required to participate in the core physical fitness program 3 times a week. You'll be tested, and one of the things we pride ourselves on is that we consistently improve fitness scores from day 1 to the end of the year, and that is one of our goals with the entire course. So whether you're an athlete or not, we will test you, and we expect improvement in physical fitness scores. As the commandant mentioned earlier, that does factor into leadership selections and other things at the school. So again, core PT is an important part. Those of you in ROTC or Service Academy preps, you have separate programs that are designed specifically for those populations. We also get those scores, but they're not part of the main physical core PT program. So, sir, with that, I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, Colonel Braun. We appreciate that. Sports are real important here. It's an integral part of life at New Mexico Military Institute, and we encourage you to try out. If you are not already on a team, we encourage you to try out, particularly at the high school level. We have a no-cut policy, and what that means is if you've never played before, as I mentioned, try out. We want you to play. Obviously, the people that are selected, first team, second team and stuff, will be based on your athletic ability, but you will not be cut. You will be on the team and you will be a part of that team, and we take pride in that. So we hope to see you come and try something that maybe you've never played before, and we'll give you that opportunity. Let's go back to academics. We have some questions for the dean again. Colonel Grego, talk about the support we provide to cadets to help them succeed academically while they're here.
Thank you, General Grizzle. The academics are designed to ensure the success of our cadets at every point. It is both rigorous and relevant. So when I talk about being successful, I mean getting them ready for college, getting them ready for trade, getting them ready for the military if they want, or getting them ready for the world of work. We have incredibly successful cadets that leave here. We just had 2 brothers that one went to the Naval Academy, one went to West Point. They go to Texas Tech, MIT, Stanford, Yale, Harvard, and the list goes on. And one of the things that we do to ensure that is that we have absolutely wonderful faculty. Our faculty, and I make sure that I assess this every single semester, average 4.5 out of 5 on their course evaluations. That's 20% higher than most other states and more than in the state of New Mexico as an example. Our students, our graduating seniors score 16% higher on the ACT. And we also have this wonderful academy prep program. If anybody has an interest in going into one of the academies, we have a program that can help you get into those type of program, one of those academies. We also, for those students that really just want to push the envelope, we have a dual degree program and a scholarship program. They can graduate in 4 years with both a high school and an associate's degree along the way. And if they really want to push it, they can do an early commissioning program. They can become commissioned within 2 years, and then they go off to, like, say, Syracuse University or elsewhere to finish up ROTC, but they're already a commissioned person in here. Some of the resources that we have available to us, obviously we have our library, which we're very proud of. It's a wonderful library, which librarians will be right there to help the students with their research. But we have a wonderful writing center as well to help people through our tutor.com that they can get help with their writing, have their work checked ahead of time before they turn it in. We oftentimes have college fairs and career fairs as well, trade fairs, to see, so that, you know, not everybody's going to be going to college. And so we want to make sure that they have opportunities along that way. We do advising. For the high school, we have a specific area, the Student Advising Center, and their whole job is to advise our high school students, do phenomenal work there. And then the faculty advise the college side of the house as well to get them ready to where they want to be in those ways. Obviously, we have an IT desk that helps with all the IT areas, including if they have problems with some of the online work that they may have to do. Some of the other things that we do, and it's not meant for just, you know, you don't have to be an A student to come here. As I like to tell the faculty, we'll take B students and turn them into A students, but we'll take C students and turn you into A students as well. How do we go about doing that? We have things like academic weekends. Every single weekend, we have an academic weekend dedicated to our cadets that they can meet one-on-one with the faculty or as a class if they need help in, say, math or other areas. We have athletic tutoring specifically for the athletes as well. We have a chemistry club, math and science tutoring approach. We have faculty office hours. In fact, the students, especially in math, can come early, at 7 o'clock, get tutored for about an hour. And then there's night study hall as well, and where they can get even more tutoring along the way. We have a National Honor Society tutoring program. And then obviously we have all the office hours that are available to them. And for you, the parents as well, we have an early warning system that you can sign up with. Make sure that, if your son or daughter is under 18, it's easy to sign up. If they're over 18 or over, they'll have to get a FERPA waiver, and we can walk you through that process. It's just a form that needs to be filled out. But the early warning system will tell you if they've missed any assignments, they've missed classes, what grades they're getting at certain points as well. So it's a wonderful system that's ensuring their success over the course of time. So I'm pretty proud of the academics and the faculty that we do here. And that's everything here, General.
We have two other areas to let you continue here and elaborate on. One is, and it's on my other screen over here. They're asking, how will they know when and what classes they will be taking, and what type of supplies should they bring?
Oh, thank you, General. In terms of the courses, go back to the Student Advising Center or to our advisors in general at the college level. They will set up those classes for you. Let's just say that there's a classes filled. They work constantly. I've seen them work till 2 o'clock in the morning to make sure that these kids get the classes that they need and get the classes they need to graduate in time. In the event that there's an issue, then we work with them again. Let's say, one of the cadets just doesn't do well in the class and they flunk it. We have a system in place for that as well to make sure that they can catch up along the way as they go through that whole process. In terms of the items that they're going to need, it's going to be the standard items you're going to need for any kind of high school or college. There's a packet that will go out to the parents, and part of that there'll be a school supply list, much like this one here, that you will see. And in that will be things like your typical notebooks as well, filler paper, Post-it notes, thumb drives, colored pencils, pens, all those type of things that you normally would get. So head off to your school supply store and fill up in those areas. But you don't have to worry about a backpack. We provide a backpack that you have, so you don't have to worry about those parts as well. And that's everything that I'm aware of, sir.
Well, thank you, Dean. And I would add that time period from matriculation, that 3-4 August, up to that first day of classes, the 11th. So you've got 8 days what the dean mentioned about meeting with your counselors and the advisors, that will take place during that time period. You'll have a chance to sit down with them. And if you, someone specifically mentioned on the other screen over here, they wanted to be in music, they wanted to take golf, Jose. So these are places where they'll be able to express their desires to be in athletics, to be in certain classes, and that'll take place during those periods. Let me continue. We got one. We're going to jump back over in the commandants real quick. He's already mentioned here at NMMI, we talk about the dean being responsible for everything in the classroom, the commandant being responsible for everything outside the classroom except for the athletic programs. But we have another thing that the commandant's responsible for, and that's extracurricular activities, things that the cadets can do on a Tuesday and a Thursday afternoon and when they have additional free time. And so I'd like to ask the commandant to talk about our clubs and our extracurricular activities that the cadets can sign up for. You're muted, Colonel Tate, you're muted.
Thank you, General. Yeah, with our extracurricular activities, we have approximately 25 clubs apart from athletics. Okay, and of course our senior ROTC program. And so if you're not involved for the most part in athletics, whether it's high school or college, then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the General said, we expect everyone, all of our cadets to be participating in some type of club. The clubs are very diverse, and they range from ethnic affiliation, like the Polynesian Club, the Native American Club, the Mexican Club, to the Native American Club, to paintball, to esports, to scouting, and the list goes on and on. We have a STEM club, and this year our STEM club competed and won the STEM competition for the state of New Mexico, and Dean Griego is very proud of this. Our STEM club, led by some of our members of the science and math, traveled to Atlanta, Georgia for the national competition there. So we were able to compete in the national competition. So that was really nice. What's important to note is either the second and we'll get the information out. The second, I believe it's the second Tuesday in September, we have like a club fair, and all the clubs will be represented here on campus on the post, and students will have the opportunity to go around and get affiliated. And we want you to get affiliated with one or two activities. What we don't want is for you to get so excited that all of a sudden you think you need to be in 5 or 6 clubs and the time's not allocated for it, because your priorities absolutely must be those core competencies that go with athletic and fitness and character. So a lot of exciting things. And there's some folks, for example, they're in the Mexican club or the Polynesian club that aren't Mexican or Polynesian, but they form bonds with their classmates and go ahead and affiliate with those types of clubs. So it's really exciting. They're well supported here by the campus. There's funding available to support those clubs, through our financial system. So it's a great opportunity. It's exciting and fun. So I hope everybody will be out there in September. General, I think that's it.
Thanks, Commandant. Let me take the next couple real quickly. We are asked frequently by parents about church services. We're very fortunate. We have a beautiful, beautiful chapel on our campus. It was paid for by our alum of the school and also a maintenance endowment to maintain the chapel. We provide a Catholic and a Protestant service on the weekends for the cadets. And for all other denominations, we coordinate with those denominations in town to get the cadets to their facility here in town. So I think without exception, there's opportunity for any religion to find a place to worship here in Roswell, and we will facilitate that with them. Another one we get asked about, and I'll take this one quickly, is health and safety. We're very proud of the safety things that we provide here at the campus. First, we have a real police force, not a safety, security force, a real police force. Every one of them are civilian law enforcement trained, CLEAT certified police officers. They're authorized to carry a weapon. They do carry a weapon. We have 6 full-time police officers and 6 part-time police officers. We have a reciprocal agreement with the city of Roswell, and they can come onto the campus, and our police officers in the surrounding area around the campus have the same authority that a Roswell police officer has. On the campus proper, we have over 100 security cameras. Now, cadets, if you're listening in, we can't look in your room and we don't spy on you. That's not the intent. But we can see trespassers. We can see if people are on the campus that shouldn't be here. We have a parking area for those cadets that can bring cars. We have complete coverage of that area with cameras, over 100 cameras. Some are fixed, some pan, and we can see. So it's a very secure area. We're very proud of it. We go through drills. We practice for natural disasters, for tornadoes, for lightning. We have those types of systems and drills here. The unfortunate thing, and we do practice for it, we practice for live shooter on the campus drills, both in the classroom and how to respond to that. So we're very proud of what we do and the security we provide for our cadets and our faculty. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the health side, and I'm actually going to let our athletic director talk about that. He's the athletic director, but he came up through the athletic world a little different. He did not come up as a coach. He came up as a trainer. He holds a master's degree in athletic training. He was once a trainer for the Houston Astros and has a great background in health and health management. So I'd like to ask him to explain our capabilities in health, the infirmary, and what we have available to us to take care of our cadets. Jose? You're muted again, Jose.
Thank you, General Grizzle. Colonel Tate and I are going back and forth on the mute thing. As far as the healthcare services we provide, we are proud to have a very, very new infirmary, which is a licensed 30-bed facility, very similar to a hospital. We can admit patients 24 hours. We have a 24/7 nursing staff. We have 6 full-time RNs and several part-time RNs. We have 2 to 3 mid-level providers that come in a couple of times a week. We have PAs and nurse practitioners. And of course, it's all overseen on the medical side by a medical director, a physician that oversees it, has privileges at a hospital if we need it, and comes in and also sees patients on a regular basis, at least a couple of times a month. Again, the 24/7 coverage there. Should it become necessary, there are 2 hospitals less than a mile from NMMI. We have great partnerships with both hospitals to send cadets there either on an emergency basis or for routine testing like imaging, labs, et cetera. So we're well covered there. We also have paramedics on staff, and the sports medicine staff integrates very nicely to the infirmary. So we have a very diverse multidisciplinary staff that can take care of most of the health needs of the cadets. In cases we can't, we do have a referral network locally that we can tap into to refer to other specialties. I do want to mention a couple of things. One of the most important ones is that if your cadet is on medications, of course, we will need to see all medications during matriculation. The nurses will have a station there and bring any medication or supplement that your cadet is taking on a regular basis. From there, the nurses will inform you which can be kept in your room and which must be kept in the infirmary. The infirmary has a regular schedule every morning and every evening if necessary to give medications that are not allowed to be kept in cadet rooms for whatever reason. So we can accommodate for that. The other thing, of course, is we want to make sure that we know everything that is in your cadet's room as far as medications should an issue arise and we have to look for interactions and whatnot. So very, very important. Along with that, if you're an international cadet coming in, the infirmary cannot accept or dispense foreign medications. So you will need to make arrangements to obtain a U.S. prescription and obtain those medications from a U.S. pharmacy. I know our international department has focused on that a lot this year, so hopefully a lot of that's been taken care of, but those are some of the more important things. And again, maintaining an up-to-date medical history with the infirmary is very important. They're very efficient, a great group of professionals. And like I said, we can handle just about anything that comes up on campus from a medical standpoint. Sir, with that to you.
Thank you, Jose. And I want to thank everybody for staying with us. We've got one last question that was a sent in question. And then I think our crew here, they've been working behind the scenes, answering questions that are coming in on the other screens. And I thank them for doing that. The last one that's a sent in question, and then we'll jump over to those other screens, is in the commandant's area. All of the support services for the Corps are the commandant's responsibility. So I'm going to ask him to talk about things like the mess hall, the laundry service, the dry cleaning, the haircuts, all the things that are the cadets support services, if you will. Commandant? You're muted. There you go.
Thank you, General. Thank you. I guess I have a lot on my mind tonight, but anyway, I just want, before I speak to that, you know, we have a lot of cadets and a lot of parents, I'm sure, that are nervous about bringing their son or daughter to school here. And I just, for the cadets and the parents, tomorrow we'll have several old cadets, if you will, or returning cadets coming in for training to prepare to receive your sons and daughters here, you know, on the 3rd or 4th or whenever they may be returning as a special group. And our number one priority associated with that training is not how to wear the uniform or how to march or how to drill. It's the focus on dignity and respect for all concerned. And we're really big on this. If somebody doesn't feel that way, they need to go to a staff member or a senior cadet officer and let us know. We have our Corps leading the Corps, if you will, our cadet leaders. I think the folks, as the general alluded to, coming back are seasoned, and I think very seasoned and very capable young men and women. And so I just want to put your mind at ease as much as possible that you're coming into this military environment, but please, we're going to do everything we can to make it as comfortable, yet comfortable and enjoyable as possible, and move forward. As far as the services go, there are a few things listed here, and they're talking about, first of all, the dining facility, the food, and of course, food, you know, that's big for morale. That's a big concern of parents. We provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7 days a week. We provide a fourth meal, which goes about 9:30 each night. Basically, a sack lunch type of meal. About 9:30 in the evening on Sunday through Thursday. We don't provide that over the weekends. And then the only exception to the 3 meals is pretty much is on Sunday. On Sunday we have a brunch, and during that brunch is just like first rate. I mean, it's omelets to order, it's pancakes, it's about anything that you would want. It's very good. In Sodexo, who we contract with, they do a great job. Any dietary restrictions should be noted in your paperwork and then just please, when you process in, say, we have this dietary restriction or that dietary restriction, and please let us know. And those restrictions will be identified on the cadet's ID card. And for those specific questions about dietary restrictions, for the most part, we'll try to get those answered when you get here. But we want to make sure that everyone is taken care of in that respect. As far as laundry service goes, we have a laundry service. We have a contract service for all uniforms, all uniforms and affiliated uniform clothing. Well, no cost to get your uniforms serviced or your linens. There is a cost for personal clothing that's very reasonable. I don't know what that is right now per se, but we can get that information out to you. I'm sorry. We do have a laundry room, but it's very limited. We have 7-day washers and dryers. And honestly, especially during the rat cycle, cadets, parents urge cadets, turn in your laundry and you're going to get it back in 48 hours. Turn in your laundry and you're going to get it back in 48 hours. Then you're not trying to figure out how you're going to balance your time, or, oh my gosh, it's study hall. I don't want to get caught over here doing laundry. Just go ahead, and a big part of what we teach here and what we train on here is just time management and how to handle your handle your duties in the Corps, in the classroom, etc. So I really want you, especially with your uniforms, that type of thing, it's free. Okay, so you're paying for it. It's a service that you've paid for, so use it. Furloughs are basically FERSA overnight passes. I'm not going to get into great detail there for the rats. The open weekends are identified, and open weekends are identified in our academic calendar. I'm going to do everything working with the dean and the athletic director to keep those weekends open. Okay, parents, if you're planning to come and see your son or daughter, whether it's a price of a plane ticket or the price of gasoline to put in your tank, it's a lot of money and it's a lot of time. And so we're going to work to keep those weekends open. The rats, as long as they're in good standing, like other cadets, will be able to go on pass and furloughs after they finish up the cresting ceremony. The time the first semester may be somewhat limited, but when we have open weekends, pretty much everyone in the Corps will be able to take advantage of those open weekends. And as far as the weekends go, our calendar is linked to the schedule of upcoming events on the Commandant's homepage at nmmi.edu/cadets. So once again, that's nmmi.edu/cadets. So hopefully that'll help answer some of those questions as far as support. We have a snack bar here, and we have a snack bar here, and here in just a few months we hope to have our bowling alley up and running. So how many colleges have a bowling alley? So with COVID and some of those things, it's really put a damper on completion on some things, but we're really excited. We're really excited that's going to be available. That facility is going to be available to our cadets sooner than later, fortunately. So, also, I guess, General, I'd just like to add, if your child gets sick while they're here, I think as Jose mentioned, he talked about healthcare, but we also have 2 hospitals or 2 medical facilities off campus just within minutes. So, General, I think that's what I have for services right now, sir.
Thanks, Commandant. I'm going to jump over to the second screen over here and take care of a few that have been directed my way, so we can get those out of the way. Again, questions about the night of August 3rd. That is what we refer to as the parent orientation, but it's also parents and cadets, and it's also high school and junior college. It's a great evening. It's about an hour. We'll pass some information on really to both parents and cadets. We'll try to get you out of there in an hour. The parent club will host a reception after that. They'll have refreshments for you. Parents, we want you to meet them and to join their organization. They host monthly live meetings just like this online. They organize things here on the campus for cadets. They act for you here to provide some of the home things that they don't get in absentia from you. They will host ice cream socials. They'll do things for the cadets. So you'll get to meet the Parents Club. So again, August 3rd, 7 p.m., Pearson Auditorium. It's everybody that's here, high school, junior college, cadets, and parents. I see one that somebody has asked me that I missed, talking about electronics. Is there Wi-Fi in the barracks? There's Wi-Fi everywhere on post. So the answer is yes. A quick story, when I first came here 14 years ago, the IT director told me he thought 20 meg of bandwidth was all we needed at NMMI. Today we have 2 gig of bandwidth, and there's sometimes we bump up against that during night study hall, as the dean talked about, because the faculty uses the internet in their instruction. And so we have ample bandwidth. It's available 24/7 in your room and anywhere on campus, actually. So plenty of bandwidth. Let me see if there's a couple of more for me. What can the families see on August 3rd? You will report on the 3rd or the 4th at 8 a.m. on Achievement Avenue. It's the north street that leads into the campus off of Kentucky. We don't have staggered times. It starts at 8 a.m., first come, first serve. And as your cadet processes, you can follow them through the processing. It'll take about 3 hours to do the processing. You cannot go into the barracks area with them. You will be in the area where their people be in their rooms and things. That's their private area. There will be a time period on the 4th where the dean and the commandant will have a time period where they will go into great detail with you about the things that they've talked about tonight. The commandant will tell you the names of those TLAs by troop, what their name is, what their cell phone number is, what their email address is. The dean will do similar with his counselors and advisors, how to reach them. Everything you need to know, parents, are so important to go to that meeting on the 4th with the commandant and the dean. We host it usually in the chapel. It depends on how large of audience we have. If we need to go back to Pearson Auditorium, we can do that. It's really based on what we believe the size of the audience will be. So families, you can follow your cadet around. You can see them get that first haircut. You can see them in that matriculation process going to the various stations. So 8 a.m. on the 3rd, 8 a.m. on the 4th. There's no staggered order by alphabet. Show up, first come, first serve, go through the processing. Athletic Director Jose, junior college football players, a question, date and time for them to matriculate.
Thank you, General Grizzle. So if you have not contacted or been contacted by your coach, you need to do that. I don't want to step on what Coach Tafasao may have set up for specific groups. So contact either the head coach or your position coach, and they will give you the exact time. It varies by where you're coming from and your method of travel. So contact the coach and they'll provide the answers to exactly what time.
Thank you. Commandant, a quick one again. The Army has changed the standards for females in hair care. The question is about French braids, buns. Can you quickly go over the new standards for female hair?
Yes, thank you, sir. We will follow the new, basically we follow the new Army standards for hair that's also located in our blue book. I'm not going to try to get into the specifics here tonight, but we went to great lengths to provide colored photos and explanations, and many of those are extracted from, we're an Army-centric school. We have senior Army ROTC, we have junior Army ROTC, and with very minor exceptions. And I think probably the major exception that we would deviate from the military right now with where the females are concerned is when they wear their Class A dress uniform in ceremony, it will be up in a bun or at least off of their off their collar for ceremonies. Other than that, starting last year, we had the females in ponytails or whatever was braids, whatever's authorized. And from 670-1 is what we pulled and what is in our handbook. And also the faculty and staff this year have asked for those standards, and And so those standards will also be posted so the faculty, our staff, the athletic staff, we can all be in sync as far as the standards. I believe they're pretty liberal. And I think that the young ladies coming in should be comfortable, very comfortable with their ability to wear certain hairstyles, sir.
And most of the questions were about hair, but when they see that, the Army has issued and changed about nails and about earrings and other things for the ladies as well. So I think when they see them, they'll understand and realize the Army has laxed quite a bit of that rigidity on the females.
Yes, sir.
And Commandant, while you're there, there's several questions all kind of in the same area. So I'm going to lump them together and let you try to address them. The questions really relate to what happens if I have issues with my roommate. What do I do? Can I change roommates? How do I go about doing that? Is that possible? Et cetera, about roommates.
Yeah. Well, if you have an issue with your roommate, we want you to report it up to the chain of command on up to the TLA, and we want to address that as soon as possible and make, to get you as comfortable as possible. I'm sure what the first thing the TLA will do will be talk to you, probably talk to your roommate, see if they can get the situation, see if you can get the situation worked out. And they'll probably ask you to try to give it a little bit of time. If we just don't think that it's going to work well, then, we've made adjustments in the past, but we're going to ask you to take the opportunity, because people may be coming from different backgrounds and different cultures, and it's all part of the learning process. At the same time, we don't want anybody to be miserable. We don't want to, make sure we don't have any type of confrontations, et cetera. So, but the first thing we're going to do is I'm sure the TLA will sit down and they will speak with you. In fact, we just talked about that in some of our training today, in our staff training, and just the process we're going to take, and we'll sit down and see if we can't talk through it, see if we can't mediate, see if we can't work through some things. A lot of it's just communication and understanding and appreciation, for one another. And of course, if that doesn't work, then we're going to take actions to go ahead and do what we need to do to make sure that everyone's in a good and safe space.
Thanks, Commandant. I want to kind of take one of yours, but quickly answer it. The question, there's a couple, we can put them together. Talking about the cadet activity fair, what that is and how it happens, and can a new activity be created? The Cadet Activity Fair will take place usually the second week after classes have started, and it will happen in our auditorium or our ballroom. All of the clubs will have a booth or a table, and if you're interested, you go there and get information about it. So drama club, chess club, paintball club, all of them will have an area that you can go up to and get information about signing up for that club. Also, yes, you can start a new club. It requires a certain number of cadets, usually 10, and a sponsor. And if there's enough interest from the cadets and a sponsor, then we'll try to support it. Some of the clubs require us to be the facilitator. So we have, if enough interest, some years we have a flight club. They actually learn to fly airplanes. We facilitate it by taking them out to the airport to the fixed-based operator, and then the cadet and the family pay the actual cost of that. We just facilitate making that happen. We also, in the past, have had a very active scuba club. Once in each semester, they go through the whole scuba class and become scuba certified by the end of the semester. We have ski club. We have 2 ski resorts within an hour and a half of here, Ski Apache and Cloud Crawl. We have an active ski club. Those kinds of things, again, we facilitate getting you to the ski resorts, and then the cost of that is up to each individual. So second week after classes start, we'll host cadet activity fair. You go there, all of the clubs will have a table. You can ask questions, decide if you'd like to sign up. And if there's a group of cadets who would like to start a new activity, 10 of you get together, find a sponsor, and we'll make that happen as well. Commandant, another quick one, questions again about, and you'd mentioned what will happen on 3 September. Can you kind of go through again what that day, what the activities of that day will be?
Sure. Thank you, General. You're going to come in and you're going to enter into the athletic center. You'll in process over there, and you'll come in. You'll get your baggage tagged. You'll store your baggage. Then you'll go through and you'll see the admissions will make sure, and the registrar will account for you. You'll come through and meet with the business office or the business office. When you come through there with the registrar, you'll pick up a matriculation worksheet, and that worksheet will designate all the different areas that you need to go through to get in processed, during that day or the next 2 days. And then once you find out exactly where you need to go, then you'll start that process of going to, then you'll start the process of going over on here to main campus. You'll pick up your computer, you'll get your ID card, you'll get a haircut. Before you get your ID card, you will get a haircut. Okay. And you'll be able to pick up your computer. We'll make sure there'll be someone set up to make sure that you get your password and that you can communicate and you have connectivity with your computer. Those types of things. You'll get your initial issue of PT clothes, shoes, that type of thing. And then you'll come out and you'll get your room assignment. And then with your room assignment.
Let me interrupt you, Commandant. We're talking about Parent Weekend, September 3.
I thought, September. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, but for the Parents Weekend, not matriculation. Okay, Parents Weekend is when you come in, we ask that if you come in on Friday, we ask that, you're going to be excited to see your sons and daughters, et cetera, but we ask that you have limited contact with them until after the ceremony on Saturday. Because they're going to be prepping their rooms, they're going to be prepping their uniforms, and so if somebody comes in and really wants to see their son or daughter there, of course, they say hello and speak with them. But we use that Friday to prep, and then Saturday, like I said, typically in the morning, we'll have a cresting ceremony, and the ceremony we will recognize their advancement up to that point. It will be a formal ceremony, whether it be in Pearson Auditorium or out on Stapp Field. And then after that concludes, then you will be able to sign out your son or daughter until Monday afternoon, I believe 5 p.m. on Labor Day weekend. So it's an exciting time. It should be a fun time. You'll be able to see your cadets in uniform and just how much they've progressed in 3 to 4 weeks, and then spend some time with them. And I apologize. I misunderstood the question. Thank you, sir.
You bet. We've just about worked through all the questions. I'm going to answer the last kind of 800-pound gorilla in the room question that's over here. And then I'd ask our support folks helping us monitor this, if they would put the important date calendar up after I answer this question, and I'll talk briefly about that before we sign off. The question that's up there is about drugs, alcohol, vaping devices, etc. The easy answer is they're simply not allowed. They're not allowed. They're not tolerated. Drugs, alcohol, tobacco, vaping are simply not allowed at NMMI. The vaping device we consider a drug device. So just don't do it, please. Don't put yourself or us in a position to have to take action against you. And I speak specifically to junior college students after they get here. I respect the fact that you may be 21, but here at NMMI, and you know this, and you made the choice to come here, Do not go out and buy alcohol. Do not bring it back to this campus. Do not buy tobacco products and bring them back to this campus. It is part of the culture here, and it is not allowed. Not on the campus, and not when you're off the campus in the city of Roswell. We've been here 131 years. The people in this town will call us and tell us that they see you doing these things. So please don't put yourself or us in that predicament. Drugs, alcohol, vaping, and tobacco are just simply not allowed. Now I'd like to put this calendar up, and while it is up, that's what you'll see on the screen. And I'll speak to some of those key dates again that we spoke about. In July, we've talked about them. The 28th is when primarily the football and volleyball junior college athletes will matriculate. On the 29th is the Colt athletes. You jump over to August. I mentioned this before, that orientation period for the international cadets on 1 and 2. On 8-3 will be the matriculation for the junior college students and the international students. The night of 8-3 is the parent orientation. Then on 8-4 will be the high school matriculation. The old cadets will report in a time frame from 8-3 to 8-9. Our first day of classes is 8-11. We will have a convocation ceremony that first morning. And then my wife and I host cookouts in the back of quarters 1 for the whole corps, broken down by squadron. Welcome back to NMMI. The first one, 8:31. The next one, the next day, 9/1. Then you see 9/3, the cresting ceremony that we talked about. We will take Labor Day off, 9/5, as was mentioned, and then exams. We jump to October. That was when that second ceremony that the commandant talked about will take place on the fair day with no classes. Homecoming is a busy, fun time at NMMI. It starts Wednesday night with our ring ceremony for our high school seniors and our junior college sophomores receiving their class rings. And then activities go on just literally nonstop Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's a fun time if a parent has an opportunity to come. The 10/29 is an open weekend. Then we have Halloween. Veterans Day is a big event in Roswell, and we participate in parades and activities for the veterans here. The last day of class is 11/17, then final exams, then fall commencement. It's real important that you understand we're going to end the semester with Thanksgiving. We will be out of school from Thanksgiving until January. 2 reasons we've done this. We did it during COVID, and it really worked well. Parents were telling us they really did not appreciate, if you will, the fact that we would take the week of Thanksgiving off. We would come back for 2 to 3 weeks and then take Christmas off. They were buying a plane ticket twice within a 3-week period. So we looked at the way we were arranging our schedule. We were able to move just a few days around. We were able to get in the required number of days needed to meet the state requirements and end the semester in November. Now, parents also, the dean mentioned it, from the end of the Thanksgiving break until Christmas, we will host a series of recovery classes. If a student needs, I hate to use the word fail, but there's no other nice word. If a student has failed a class, we will offer a in-class recovery period for them to make that class up. So we're going to use that time productively for those that need it. And then we'll start the second semester the second week of January and have a regular second semester ending in May. So these are dates. They're on our website, nmmi.edu. And if you could bring that down and let me be the picture, thank you. We've kept you about an hour and 20 minutes. I can't thank all of you enough for being on the broadcast this evening. If we didn't answer any questions, please go to the website. Please go to any of our individual emails. You see our last name, that's our email. Grizzle@nmmi.edu, Tate at nmmi.edu, Barone at nmmi.edu, or Griego at nmmi.edu. Contact any of us personally. We'll answer your questions, or we will get you an answer to your questions. Again, thank you so much for this evening. We look forward to seeing you all here in just a few days, and we're looking forward to a great year this year. It's just going to be a fantastic year to not have the restrictions we've had for the last 2.5 years, and to have what we believe, I don't use the word normal anymore, but what we believe to be a regular semester. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.